Hey everybody, it's me, Margaret. The holidays are fast approaching, but this healthy family will not be making any sugar cookies this year. But I had to find something that was reminiscent of that activity so we can keep in the holiday traditions, making just a twist to keep the sugar out of our house as much as possible. So I was looking at salt dough ornaments on the internet. Pinterest is full of recipes for salt dough out there, and it reminded me of the Play-Doh that I used to make for my kids. The recipe was given to me by a college professor. I was an elementary teacher, I don't know if you knew that or not, by word of mouth, so it's not copyrighted, and actually I don't think any of these can be copyrighted. They are old as dirt, and there are so many out there. So the one I'm going to give you is the one closest to commercial Play-Doh. I'm not sure if it's going to be good for salt dough ornaments or not, but I may be trying out some more recipes in the future. So here's the one from my favorite Play-Doh. Now the written recipe ready for printing is going to be on a blog that I keep just for notes like this. So I'll put the link in the description box below. And basically I've got all my ingredients out here. Now let me warn you of something. When you look at these recipes on Pinterest or whatever, rarely do they give you a yield. But for a guideline, if the recipe calls for 1 cup of flour, you're going to end up with about as much dough as 2 commercial Play-Doh containers. It's going to be about that much. So I split it. You can easily half this recipe, you can double it. You're not baking here, so the measurements don't have to be absolutely exact. So keep that in mind. So another thing that you need to do, big tip for this recipe, is use a non-stick pot, okay? And of course, something that's not going to scratch your non-stick pot. Me, I always use this wooden spoon for this, so that's that. Now, you know what? Let me get out a second pot. While I make these 2 at a time, I put the ingredients out 2 at a time, but I cook them only 1 at a time because you really need to watch it. Simple to do, but it happens so fast that you don't want to miss it. Alright, so here's what you're going to need. A cup of flour, a tablespoon of salad oil, and you can use regular old salad oil. I don't have that because we don't use it at our house. So I'm using grapeseed oil here. Any kind of salad oil is fine. You're going to need 1 cup of water, you're going to need a 1/2 cup of salt, and 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar. Now, cream of tartar is something you usually use when you make meringue. It's acidic, and it causes those air bubbles in the egg whites to adhere to one another. And because it's acidic, it also tends to cut down on bacteria growth. So it may have another reason for the properties and how it feels. I don't know, but I know that it's helping cut down on bacteria, which I think is important. And then you'll need the food coloring, which is optional. Now, here's the deal. It's going to be very watery when you bake it up to begin with. And as you're cooking it, it just magically turns into dough all at one time. It's really fun. But because it's watery, I see that as the prime time to add your food coloring. So while you'll see a lot of people, take the dough out, turn it out, put it on a floured surface, knead the color in, but you can do that, and it's probably going to give you great results, as a matter of fact. But to me, it's a lot easier and a lot less messy to put it in while it is, in its liquid state, because I'm using liquid food coloring. Now, even if you were to use that pasty dye kind, which gives you much more intense colors, I'm sure you could do it the same way. But mostly you do need that in, but that's up to you. Okay, I have a hard time talking and doing things at the same time. I need a tablespoon of salad oil, so I'm halving it. So I'll do, tablespoon. A 1/2 tablespoon in that one, and a 1/2 tablespoon in this one. cup of water, so I'll split that. And you know, this is a dry measuring cup right here. If you were baking, you would never want to do your liquids in your dry measuring cup because it's not exact that way. At least that's what I heard. I don't do a lot of baking, and I have broken the rules because that's what I do. And then we need a 1/2 cup of salt. So we'll do a 1/4 cup in each one. Oh, I forgot the salt. Now I just have some off-brand salt here. It doesn't matter. And you'll need a 1/4 cup in each one. Now, many of the salt dough recipes you'll see use a lot more salt. And if you've ever were little and you tasted dough, which a lot of little people tend to do, you'll know it usually is very salty, commercial or otherwise. I don't know why this one doesn't use any more salt, but it doesn't need it as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so there you go. So I've got my flour, I've got my oil, got my water, got my salt. 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar. So that's this. So I need 2 teaspoons. I'll put 1 teaspoon in each. So cream of tartar is a white powdery substance. Looks a lot like flour or powdered sugar. Got a little extra in that one. Alright, so I've got all my most important ingredients. Okay, basically I'm going to knock as many of the lumps out, the obvious lumps. It melts pretty, I mean it dissolves pretty easily. And at this point, it's where I'm going to add the food coloring. And how much to add? I don't know. I just put some. And then you stir, and it blends in very easily. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead, start this on the heat. I got it on medium, I guess, which would be, I have 10 choices and I have it on 7. Now, you don't want to leave this because it'll dry out. It's kind of like, think of it as making candy or something. You really need to watch it. I'm purposely not speeding this up so you can see in real time how quickly this turns from liquid to dough. Of course, at any point, if you want more food coloring, you could add more. You can see when you leave it, as you start to pull, it's thickening and drying out somewhat. But it's getting kind of lumpy. This is how it's supposed to do. Now look, all of a sudden, it's beginning to pull away, but you just keep doing this until it forms a ball. Look, see how it's forming a ball? Isn't that crazy? It just happens so quickly. Now I can see it's still sticky, so I want to keep it on my heat just a few more minutes, not minutes, seconds, and to where it's reminding me more of the Play-Doh consistency. Okay, I'm liking that, so I'm going to turn my heat off and turn it out onto the surface. Okay, I put some flour out here on my counter. Now I have a marble countertop, so I can do this. Beware of your countertop. Whoops. Beware of your countertops and what you need to do to take care of them. You might want to put a cutting board or something like that. Now, it cools very quickly, so it's not going to hurt your hands in any way, but you just kind of knead it until that flour works in, and it is the perfect Play-Doh consistency. Now, if any point you feel like you need it thicker, you can just add some more flour right here, and it's fine. You don't have to put it back on the heat or anything. But that is your Play-Doh. Now store this in a Ziploc bag in the refrigerator if you have a long length of time like I do before Thanksgiving. But I'm going to go ahead and make a couple more batches of this for everyone to play with. So I'll talk to you later. Bye. You might want to know if a non-stick pan is mandatory. No, you can use a regular pan if you want to, but look how easily that came out. A regular pan, you may have more left over on the sides. That's it. But it's just so much easier cleanup and easier, I don't know, the whole process just seems a little slicker when you have the non-stick pan. So, and this, as soon as you put water to it, it just dissolves and washes away. So it's very easy cleanup. Good thing to do with your kids, just make sure you supervise them near the stove. But it's fun. Now something that my kids used to do, that like to do, is that I would make them some colors, but then I would make one just white, because they loved to mix colors with white to get a lighter, more pastel shade. Some people like to color their dough with Kool-Aid because it also gives it a little fruity scent. I don't ever buy this stuff because it's so unhealthy. And also, I'm a little bit sensitive to smells, so it's not my preferred method, but you might want to try that.